Oculus Rift. Yeah, let's go. I'm
Yeah,
playing some
it has
cheesy
an
music.
update, so I can't like see the dashboard anymore. Wants me to update before I can use my computer, so kind of stuck in this void.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to peel the headset off to look at updates.
It's very existential.
Oh,
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna talk about chemtrails for like 2 hours.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we could talk about
I
chemtrails.
don't know.
I mean, it's not really what we usually focus on, but chemtrails are very important.
You know, I'm gonna let you do your bit, and I'm just gonna follow along with it because I've never really had the opportunity to be a guest. I always set the agenda, so I'd like to just sort of sit in the background and yell things out like a heckler and be disruptive and play sound effects and stuff for once. You know, be a guest instead of a host. So I'm gonna try to enjoy that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Unless you have a better plan.
Well, I have a worse plan, so let's go with this one. So
yeah.
what we're going to start off with is my live-action fan fiction of The Walking Dead featuring the alt-right. So, you know, the alt-right has been, like, you know, a hot topic these days because of, like, all the things that, like, so-called deplatforming and whatnot. Like, you know, it's like, I traced it back, and I kind of researched the history of the alt-right a little bit. So it originally started off as this libertarian Tea Party movement where they just wanted to lower taxes and something like that. They wanted to
see, I didn't know what the alt-right is before you started telling me, so I'm very eager to hear what this.
They were a libertarian movement, but then the leader got bitten by Richard Spencer, and then he turned into Richard Spencer, and then they became like this like neo-Nazi movement afterwards, and like that's how it got to where it is today. And now the alt-right virus spreads by you talking to them. So like if you talk to an alt-right person, then you turn into an alt-right person. So that's why you should never talk to them. And this is what happens in The Walking Dead. You know, because in every zombies franchise, it eventually gets to a point where people stop caring. Essentially, it just keeps getting cooler, and then it gets too cool, and then people stop caring. And then at that point, they just start like making up nonsense that nobody actually cares about.
I think that only works if you're like paying attention though, or listening to what they're saying. I just kind of pretend to pay attention when people talk. I don't really parse. I'm busy like thinking about anime girls and stuff the whole time, so I don't know if that would work on me. Maybe I'm either too smart or too dumb for that to work on me. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, it could be both actually, because you know, have you heard of like the horseshoe theory? That's like you know, if you apply to that, like you get to the too smart and then you end up too dumb, and vice versa. So you know, you can end up from one end. Yeah.
Oh, I cut out for a second there. My connection's pretty bad, but I didn't hear what you said. But I'm not really into horse racing. I don't know about any of that stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, horses is like I think like some things are modeled after horses, and not many people are into that, and it's a little bit controversial too. So we can stay away from that topic as well. We dipped into it a little bit last week when we talked about like the thought audit and how you could arm those people who are arresting the thoughts for tax evasion with the modified SPAS 12 shotgun that fires dragon dildos called the Dragon Tail mod. But you know, that's not super relevant. It's not super important. I just wanted to talk about this Walking Dead fan fiction a bit more. Actually, I kind of forgot most of it because like I don't have it written down. It's more like stuff that I was just thinking about while I was like, you know, taking a dump. And then I was like, oh yeah, I could probably talk about this next week because it's like a good filler for an episode to make it look like I have something prepared when I actually don't.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time. I would just kind of come up with shit that didn't make any sense. Are we going live at some point, or?
Yeah, we're already live. I said we were going live.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, we've been talking about, like, about all this stuff.
Oh, I thought you were just pitching ideas to me or something. I didn't realize that we were supposed to be saying things that were amusing and captivating.
Oh.
But
I mean,
if that's what we're doing, then I would just like to start off by saying that I'm really just excited to talk to everyone else here about, you know, interests, hobbies, celebs, and more. And I want to get this show on the road.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
You know, I don't know if e-celebs count as celebs, but like more of them are turning into alt-rights as they talk to alt-right people, because that's how, as I said, that virus spreads. So it's like a fan fiction that kind of like blends into real life. It's like part of it is real and part of it is just made up. So anyway, how have you guys been doing? Blockchains, do you have anything to talk about? How things are going in the virtual reality world / crypto? Are you still doing crypto rap?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah,
I'm back. All right,
it's
my
just
internet's
ruined.
cutting out. Sorry. I don't know what any of those words you said mean, but I think they're probably. I'm smart.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, go on. Continue.
Yeah, usually like our connection doesn't cut out until we reach a specific topic, so we always avoid it. So, I think as long as we just maybe like we won't talk about the fan fiction anymore because that seems like that's contributing to the cutting out problem.
Well, here, I can I say my words on this 2 cents topic, if you will.
Oh yeah, yeah, you can give a 2 cents on the topic. That sounds good.
This is listen. I'm going to take a really drastic position here, and maybe I'm going whole hog. Okay, maybe I'm just a renegade running under the moonlight who doesn't follow the rules. But I'm just going to tell the truth and tell it like it is. Okay, this is what I think about the politics. Is the stuff that's happening in politics today is so important that it will be very important for years. And I also think that we should all get along. And it's just like if you could see the other person's like point of view and stuff, man, then we could all chill out and everyone would be friends. And that's really what I think. So that's there. Yep.
That's a really good. That's a really good stance.
I
My
agree.
opinion is that if we were to broadcast that like on CNN or something like that, it would spread this message of love and peace. Especially now that it's like like mid December, it's almost late December. People are going to be like all full of goodwill and cheer, and they'll accept this message wholeheartedly. But then, unfortunately, 2 weeks later, they're going to forget about it. Kind of like when Snowden revealed that the government was spying on everybody, and then everybody was upset about it, and then later on, everybody doesn't care anymore. So
Yeah, that was cool as hell. Yeah, I like it. Everyone's attention span's really bad. It's fun.
yeah. I mean, like it's like, oh yeah, internet privacy, oh the Fourth Amendment, and then like 2 weeks later, like what's the Fourth Amendment? That's not important. Yeah. So that was basically something that was going on. I appreciate your message. I approve this. I would nominate you to run for office if you were eligible. But as I understand it, you there are some criterias that you don't meet.
Well,
So
yeah, first off, I'm not a big bank 1% guy with all my money in Wall Street and stuff, because that's another really cool ass opinion I have is that, like, the politicians are bad and they actually just want war for oil. And that's really what I think
so
on this website.
you're not a bad enough dude to become the president of the United States, as they would say it, as these kids these
Yeah,
days would put it. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, like very few people get into the 1%. It's like only maybe about like 1%. But I think that's more of an estimate than a hard number, because if you got one hard, then that's not
So I wasn't listening. I'm watching monster truck videos right now. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah. I was
There's
just
this
saying
really
that.
cool one called Gravedigger, and it has like green. It looks really cool. And sometimes when I'm driving around, I'll make noises with my mouth with my car and like pretend that I'm driving Gravedigger.
Oh, Gravedigger is a monster truck, like
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
It's
pretty
also
cool.
what they used to call me when I was in the Marines,
Oh, you were in the
because
Marines. Oh, that's
I would dig so many graves because I got so many kill cams that I would just not even remember like 200 guys, and I would dig all the graves for them with a knife.
oh wow. That's
I'm
really
sorry, I
interesting.
lied. That isn't true. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
forgive me?
Okay, that's all right, yeah, we can let that slide. We could probably just like cut that part from the show. I'm sure no one will ever
Okay.
notice it and it'll be okay.
Should we set an agenda or do introductions or anything, or just are we? Is this one of those shows where they just start like mid conversation and no one knows what's going on? I don't know.
We can introduce people, all right? So basically, I'm basically a Tentacle Prince, a Kurt Eichenwald fanboy who wants to become family friendly. So I'm taking his most family friendly claim to fame on the Tucker Carlson show, and I'm using that as my alias online.
I
And
think that's illegal, dude.
oh, okay, I don't know who this guy
This guy is
is.
the guy who runs this podcast right now is illegal porn on his computer. So if anyone wants to find someone with illegal porn on their computer, you should go after the guy who runs this show right now that you're listening to.
Oh,
If you can spell in the comments, there'll be a tip line that you can dial right now.
wait, is that like the same thing as like the IRS tip line? Because that
Well,
might.
you can also the porn you bought probably wasn't taxed properly, so that's probably right.
Huh. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. Um, all right. So everybody, just forget what I said earlier. That stuff. We'll cut it from the episode. You guys can scrub it from your memory. Um, What is the best way to scrub people's memories? What do you recommend when like you have like a memory problem, like when there's a memory that people have that they shouldn't be having because it's detrimental to your financial interests? I mean, this is a business show, so we're gonna focus on financial interests and how it affects people in their life.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I generally try to avoid paying attention in the first place, or even creating memories. It's sort of a preemptive strike. There is what I like to call. I'm not sure about scrubbing memories. I mean, you can try a lot of drugs and alcohol, like LSD, other things that crack cocaine. Anything distributed by the CIA and sold by intelligence agencies to inner city black communities is probably a good bet in terms of disrupting brain activity. So I would start there, the tried and true classics.
But how are we going to get the CIA? Because, like, investing in the CIA, some people say that it's a good route to go. Like, you want to invest in the CIA because it's more like leasing a car, where you don't know if when you buy a politician, as a corrupt business, and you want to have them pass laws that are favoring your business. Politicians are usually a good investment. You put massive campaign contributions toward their election campaign, and then when they get in office, they give you a lot of kickbacks. However, some argue that it's not the best investment given that they are not in office forever. So some people suggest that you go the CIA route because the CIA tends to go send in people to brief a lot of senators before they vote, and that's a much better way to sway senators, since you don't have that risk of the senator you buy no longer being on the seat a couple years down the road.
Well, I have my opinion on that, but blockchains. Do you want to say anything? You've been quiet, and I don't know if it's just because your VR. I can go. I just wanted. I didn't want to talk over you.
Isolation chamber for the past 5 minutes in this room. I've been trying to get out of here for the past 5
Are
minutes.
you trapped in cyberspace right now? Do we need to send you a rescue squad?
You need to call the fire department.
Can they go into cyberspace though?
They're gonna have to jack me off.
That's fucked up.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I know that like there are some
For the people who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, I'm gonna have to explain the joke because I'm smart. He's wearing a VR headset because that's the only working microphone he has. So the entire time we're doing this shitty podcast that 7 people listen to, he's walking around the room like flinging screens around like Minority Report, and it's extremely high tech. And his IQ is probably like 280 from doing that. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good descriptor of it. It definitely works the parts of your brain that does that. I don't know what they're called.
The synapses.
It's
the synapses.
The neuronal area of the medulla, whatever.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you want to do that.
Scientifically proven that it increases your IQ by throwing shit around. It helps with muscle memory, which is like 80% of your memory. And
yeah, bitch, I got huge muscles. Skills. That's why I remember everything.
Yeah,
I got huge ass muscles. I remember everything. I remember my phone number. I remember a lot of trivia about model trains. I remember the names of a lot of anime girls. I remember a lot of information because of my biceps. But I think we were talking about the CIA or something.
Yeah, we were mentioning CIA and then drugs.
See, I had something to talk about that. Like, you said a bunch of words about politicians, and I don't know about that because I can't read, but I do know a lot of people in the CIA. As most people don't realize is most of my fans of me, world famous podcaster Jan Rankowski, most of my fans are actually in the CIA. A lot of people don't know this because, see, after the whole incident happened, I got a lot of like, I was put on a watch list, and what happened is all the NSA CIA guys ended up listening to my show to make sure I wasn't planning a bombing, and then they started passing it around the office. So they started becoming fans, and now I have like gang stalking agents who will follow me around and stuff because they're such fans of my show.
So it's not like a gang stalking where like they're trying to intimidate you, but rather they're more like gang stalking fans. They're like like fan stalking agents at this point. You have
Fan stalking, I like that. Yeah, they're gang friending. They're gang supporting. See, they'll do little things like the CIA does stuff called gaslighting, where they'll break in your house and like move shit around so you go crazy.
Oh, okay.
Like the other day, I came back to my house and there was an old radio sitting on my front porch next to a bottle of Prozac.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. And then there was a little Christmas card in there, and it was like, from your friends at the NSA. Also, we have 30 photos of your dick, and we're laughing at how small it is. And the last part, I think they were lying, because my dick is huge, and I know that they have no photos of it because I covered it in tinfoil whenever I'm around phones, so they can't see it.
Oh, and they can
But
also
the first
not
part
use
of it is
their
nice.
satellites either. They can't use the satellite imagery to get your dick picture without your consent.
Yeah, there's no imaging possible done on my dick. It's completely off the books.
Oh, okay. Now, when you use
My dick is a black site, basically, and I don't mean that in a racial term. That had really bad connotations. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me?
Yeah, okay. So we can roll out like. Would you like to get this like kind of like a product out there? Like if this were like a Shark Tank kind of podcast, right? And you were pitching an idea like, oh, we have this new condom that can also hide your dick from the NSA, so that you can have relations and you can stay safe. And you can also stay safe from the NSA as well, so that they don't get the pictures of your dick from when you're like, you're inserting it into, well, I'm not going to, it's 2018, so it's not necessarily a girl. It could be a girl, but we're not going to assume gender.
That's illegal, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to go to gay hell if you keep making phrases like that. All right? And the gay reaper is going to come after you.
Oh,
but leaving that... I think this could be a good option. I mean, I like your idea. You got some real business thoughts and words going around your brain and stuff. And maybe you could have like a mobile Faraday cage. It would be like a U-Haul, but with tinfoil in the middle of it. And you could only fuck inside the Faraday cage, so the CIA doesn't get any images of like your dirty bedroom business. That could be cool. Like anytime you get a schizophrenic episode, you think someone's watching you, you just rent a Faraday cage.
Yeah, you could have like Faraday cage underwear. You could have like Faraday cage clothing. Like it could be a new fashion line for people who really like the tinfoil hats. Like now you don't have to limit it to just a hat. Now you got like the shirts, the underwear, and you also
hell yeah,
got, like,
dude.
Yeah, you got the reflective pants that like that have like the sewn in patterns to just make your junk look bigger. Or if your junk is too big and people find it offensive, you can make it look more normal. You can adjust it to so many different sizes. The CIA and NSA, they're going to have no idea. They're going to be all like, well, we don't know what this guy is packing, and it'll probably like put you on another watch list, but it's like more like a celebrity watch list. It's a lot more.
Yeah, dude.
It's a lot more niche, maybe a lot more like specialized. Like not many people know about it. You kind of have to be on the in crowd to be.
It's underground. And I have another idea regarding marketing too, along those same lines. Is people talk about like marketing and search engine optimization, but people don't realize that NSA keywords can play a big part of that as well. I mean, if you sell your product and you have a lot of words next to it, like bomb, gun, kill, president, stuff like that, then your shit is going to be picked up by a lot of NSA agents, and that can be like free marketing. Like a lot of intelligence agents will probably end up buying your product if it's advertised like on an ISIS website.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean,
so that's another idea.
But then, like, you'll also be getting like some people who like might be members of ISIS purchasing your product, and then you might get audited. So like that can be
better. It's just another audience to market to.
Yeah, but then you might get flagged
publicity.
and audited in that case, and then like they might not like you, and then they might restrict like exports or whatnot, depending on what you're selling. Of course, they don't know if like if this
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, that's true. Because like there was someone on Twitter talking
play.
about how like their junk was a weapon of mass destruction, and if that gets affiliated with your product, then they might say, okay, well, this is a strategic resource and cannot be exported, and then when that comes out, then we won't be able to sell to the overseas market as much, and that's going to cut into your profit margin a little bit.
I would say if anyone's ever self-conscious about their dick size and they want like attention, just start calling it your weapon of mass destruction, and the NSA will pay very close attention to it, and then you can feel good that at least someone cares about it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I do.
Oh, all right. So like how big is your NSA fan club? Because like I know that like Jan's got like he's like really famous there, right? But are you like also like one of the celebrity of the years over there? Like, did they have like people like lining up to get your autograph, or?
I'm more of a CIA guy. I live in a ghetto, so they do a lot of wacky hijinks there.
Oh, okay, that's
A lot
pretty
of
cool.
CIA droogs walking around.
So you have
Can I
in
just
my van.
a lot of viewer
I,
engagement then. That's really good. Because
well, his thing is, he's the guy who sells them microwave weapons. So, you'll park a van outside the house and beam just 16 directed energy weapons into their bedroom to give them headaches all day. And that's sort of his specialty. And it really is like the ultimate form of like trolling, to be a gang stalking agent and to be hired to just purely drive someone insane, but like the government is backing you. And I'm kind of jealous.
With a Wi-Fi router, and it'll fuck with people all day.
Oh,
Yeah,
They'll start
5G.
sneezing and coughing and start liking Jay Leno, and then they don't know what's going on, and they'll never realize it. It's the perfect crime.
Oh, yeah. I'm really
Scopolamine in their
I'm really
food.
out of my league here because like when I was coming up with the idea for the Dragon Tail mod at Spas 12, like I was trying to come up with something like that was non-lethal, but this is so much more subtle because it's invisible. You don't even know where it's coming from, and there's like no way to trace it. You can't trace it back to the origin, unless you have some kind of not a multimeter. You're gonna need like a Gauss meter or something.
Yeah, I know what those words mean.
Yeah. We have a lot of words. We got like a thesaurus, and
I wanted to get into the word selling market, the business.
Oh, okay.
Seems like something that people use all the time, right? No one doesn't use words. So like the person that sells all the words is the one that gets all the money, right? You're in the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, I think that
I want to figure out a way to get into that market.
I don't know what he's saying. I think he's on cough syrup again, but I have a few more ideas that make a little more sense if you want to hear them for small businesses.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, what's a good
Yeah,
idea?
I know that I have a huge burgeoning IQ, and I'm just going to give you some value nuggets of wisdom here to keep this along. Personally, my small business, the way that I make money, isn't selling words. It's selling stories and ideas. Really, I'm more of a storyteller type of guy.
Okay.
I've started my own new business, and it's really going great. It's been very successful for me. I sell mixtapes and ringtones.
Okay.
I travel around. I have a little car, and I've become what is known as a disc jockey. Now, some people call it a DJ for short, but I personally think it's more respectable if you say the whole thing. That's why I call myself a disc jockey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become a very profitable industry for me. I've started a small business called Beats on Wheels, and it's a 24-hour DJ mixtape delivery service. I'll come to your house, I'll play a set, I'll give you some mixtapes. Do you need the perfect dark OST in FLAC format? Do you need it within 30 minutes and it's 4 a.m? I'm your guy.
So this is kind of like an Uber for DJs, like when you
or
disc
exactly,
jockeys rather.
It's all at your fingertips if you think about it.
Oh, okay. That sounds very good.
I don't know why you're laughing. I try to do a serious thing.
You knew what went on in this room.
Oh, you gotta tell me now.
Only you see what.
I'm just imagining your roommate.
Kinds of shit.
I'm just imagining your roommate or your family member walked in on you, talking about chemtrails and CIA and with a fucking VR headset on, mumbling to yourself in a corner.
Hooked on VR though, you got to start talking about that, and they're like, "What are you looking at?" And then they put on the headset, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
I think it'd be really cool to try to explain virtual reality to like a grandma.
Oh god!
Like showing your grandma VR chat.
Jesus Christ!
Well, I just want like some old, like guy used to be a construction worker, and smokes 30 packs a day, and he's like 70 years old, and he tries VR chat for the first time. I want that. I want to.
Well, I want to see that, but he's got to be in a world that has like those like cigarettes that you could pick up, and then so that way he can try to smoke it.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, and then some troll comes along and like swaps that out for a dildo, and then there's like, ah, look at you, blah blah blah, and then the guy's gonna be like, oh, what the hell? This is not what I wanted to do, and then like he doesn't know how to let go of it because there are buttons that he has to press, and
that's really a stain on your soul that never leaves. Is when you get trolled online. That's traumatizing.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, trolling online is such a heavy what is it called, injury to someone's psyche that people are really rallying against it. Like one of the biggest troll things is, as you've seen in the chat I posted, like these waifu bots. People are trolling women saying, "Oh, you're gonna get replaced by sex bots in like 20 years, and then you're gonna be obsolete." and they don't like that. They're getting trolled so
It's
hard.
really funny. That kind of shit is really funny because I think like 30% of the people posting that stuff are like trying to be funny, and the other 60% like honestly believe it's gonna happen, and are just like they're just like waiting for the day that they can be the ultimate alpha Chad and stick their dick in a computer and stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
I'm sorry, I said a cuss word. I'm sorry.
yeah, we're trying to be more family friendly, but it's really difficult. That's probably like the hardest thing to achieve online. But we already have women who are trying to resist that. They're fighting back. You have women that are pretending to be AIs on YouTube now. Like they have like a face
Is
tracker
that true?
using VR chat. Yeah, that's what Kazuna Ai is. It's like basically a fake AI. She says she's an AI.
See,
but
I don't know what
That's
those words mean.
cultural appropriation.
Yeah, do you ever,
Pretending to be a computer.
yeah,
That's wrong.
that's
What's
messed
going
up.
to happen when the AIs become sentient? They're going to get pissed.
Yeah, so
Yeah, dude.
basically they're pretending to be AIs. So like, you're gonna have like a woman pretending to be like a waifu bot. They're just gonna be like, oh hey, I'm like a waifu bot, therefore I'm like perfect. And then like they're gonna try to trick a guy into like dating them and stuff, and then they're gonna get pregnant, and then they're gonna get trapped in the court systems, and then it's gonna be a huge mess. So, like this is the future, and this is how the waifu bots are gonna get subverted. People
Well, at
people
least
tried
getting
this
divorced
before.
by a PC, at least you can like make her do all the calculations and stuff. So it's not that bad. She'll
Yeah,
know
people
exactly
tried
what she
doing
owes.
that with traps. They thought like, oh, you could just have like a guy and like turn him into a girl, or look like a girl, and then it'll be like the brain of a guy inside a girl, and then it would be great. But then you have like that hit or miss girl who everybody thought was a trap, but then like it turns out she's really a girl, and then like that's just another way that they were able to like sneak one under the radar. There's a lot of that going on, especially on the internet. So, that future is not so certain anymore because you already have these women who are like subverting it, and that's just how things are going.
Yeah, the modern day, the future dating scene is looking pretty grim. You're dealing with all kinds of onion brains and shit.
Onions.
Like it's
Yeah.
yeah,
The Onion
like
router was pretty interesting though because like it lets you connect to the dark web or the deep web rather, and then you can
yeah,
access
it's
these
like basic
websites.
stuff though.
You
It's
get
like you can do groceries on it now.
Oh, you can do groceries. You can also buy like cryptocurrencies on there or something. I don't really know much about the cryptocurrencies
Bombs,
other than now you have
guns.
websites where you can buy them, but you basically have to dox yourself in order to buy them. So if you go to something like Coin Payments, they want you to scan your ID and then like say like, okay, this is where you live, and then like you can buy a Bitcoin, completely defeating the purpose of it. But that's how it is right now.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff because I'm a Christian and pretty.
Is
It's
that
funny though.
does that go against like the cryptocurrency
Yeah,
Yeah,
belief?
that's
that's
one of the
actually.
Ten
Well, I was
Commandments.
talking about the trap thing and the like hating women thing, but
Oh, okay.
also cryptocurrencies is also there is a part in the Bible that says you can't buy Ripple or
Specifically
you can't buy
Ripple.
XM, specifically Ripple.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Ripple, I think that like had some kind of relation to banks or something. Um,
It is
so
funny as shit though that like there's all these people online posting like elaborate fan fiction theories about how like women will be eradicated and the future will only be men playing PUBG all day with awesome liquid cooled PCs and everything. It's funny that people like that exist, but kind of sad too.
well, yeah, I mean, like back in the 1990s and like early 2000s, people thought like that video games were going to be like 3D and shit. So like they were going to be they thought it was going to be like a new style of video game where instead of just two-dimensional sprites, they would have like 3Ds, and that was going to be the thing. But you know,
Yeah,
like do you have like entire? Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get there.
I wanted to segue into something else unless you have another great big brilliant topic.
Well, I have like only like small to moderate brain topics, but let's try your
Okay,
idea. What's the
all right.
segue? What is this segue
I was
to?
just I was just gonna. It's kind of an. It was just a funny story I thought of. I think I don't really like to make jokes about like how all women are evil or like make jokes about traps and stuff like that because it's a kind of thing where a while ago I used to read Twitter a lot like a year ago and I would read all these accounts who were writing about stuff like that about how sex bots will be real and things like that and then for a while I was really convinced like this is such an accurate parody of like a depressed Korean schoolboy who plays MMOs all day and has never had real human contact. And then after a while, I realized like, no, they're completely serious. And I wasn't sure if they made it funnier or just sad or both. And it's a weird thing, but I think that is a thing, a preponderance of that happening. That's a word that I use properly, by the way.
Oh,
there was
okay.
this guy I was talking to, and he will probably hear this, so I'm not going to say his name. Instead, I'm going to give him a code name. But he was telling me a story once about how he fucked some dude who was pretending to be a girl online. Or he wasn't, but he was planning to, specifically. This is like a year ago. And
I think the term for that is ERP.
It isn't that. It was like someone else. I used to make videos with him, and someone else was like, hey, he basically told me like this guy is now trying to have sex with a mentally ill man who thinks he's a girl on the internet, and you need to give him an intervention. That was literally like what he told me, like you need to give him an intervention, as if I'm Dr. Phil or something, which I thought was insane level funny. And so I talked to him
slow
just
down
to
a
see
bit.
where it went.
I'm having some difficulty following your story. Your friend was going to hook up with someone, and then he told you that you needed to stop him from.
No. That would be way funnier. No, it was a mutual friend who told me to intervene, and and basically I got in a chat room with him because it was like, this is going to be really funny. It's a person having a mental breakdown. Yes, on AIM. Yeah, actually, that's exactly. It was on RuneScape. Actually, we met outside Barack, but he started using like philosophy level 300 words to describe why it was cool and normal and not mentally ill that he was trying to have sex with a man badly posing as a woman on Facebook. And he used the word praxis 3 times in a 10-minute conversation. And I'm not kidding. This happened. Like, I can't make this up.
Trying to do this.
It was cool as shit. But he was basically explaining why, like, well, you know, this person's practice is so interesting. He told me about how kept talking about how it was a self-negating praxis because they were self-negating and refusing their own identity as a man and becoming a woman, and how this was so fascinating. And he was talking about it like he was like an Adam Curtis documentary, like it was overlaid over like old stocky film footage, and he was describing something. And that really taught me a lesson of how, and this guy was actually smart, like he was using the words correctly. He was just using them in a retarded way. And I was like, yeah, but you're still like having sex with a man, and that's still like gross. You know that, right? You know, like poop goes there, right? Like you're putting your pee-pee where the poop comes out. You're aware of that? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I am. It's just a praxis. And that was when I learned that sometimes the dumbest people are the smartest people, or vice versa. And sometimes being smart actually makes you super retarded.
Well, yeah, because, it's like how, it's like I think like South Park already did an episode about this, where it's like someone took a dump in a urinal, and then like that was very, very bad. Like, you know, that's something you're not supposed to do. And essentially, you mentioned something about like pee and poo mixing together, and like it's like epoxy, where like if the two chemicals touch, then
well, that's how gay people are born, actually.
Oh.
Most people don't know this.
Okay, because like there are a lot of science deniers now. You know that there's this new trend of like science denial. Like people are rejecting what is known as scientific fact that has been like democratically decided is a scientific fact, and then they're now saying, oh well, you know what? I don't believe that. Now I believe this alternative science instead. Which is, you know, something like that. So, you know, when it comes to things like that, it's like, you know, I'm all for people, you know, trying their own scientific you know, schema or theory to test out, say like, okay, let's see if
the praxis
actually let's go ahead and see this. Let's try to walk off the edge of the earth. You know, some people say that you can do that. I'd avoid doing that. But
well, this is the thing: is a lot of people who are really smart are actually mega stupid. Because they are able to use big brain words to convince themselves that what they're doing is not mega retarded. And if you're in Mensa, you basically huff glue. But that story is a good example of where I draw the line between a homo and a faggot. A homo will have sex with a man, but a faggot will write an epistemological treatise on the praxis of the act of doing so. And I think that's all I'm going to say about the story, because I'm sure the guy who I'm describing in vivid detail is listening and is going to get angry in an extremely funny way at me. But I feel morally absolved as long as I don't identify them by name. So I'm going to stop there. But I just thought that was a really funny anecdote to bring up. He also accused me of of making fun of him because I was in a heteronormative space, and then I asked him what color his hair was dyed, and he said it's not dyed at all. And that was cool.
Yeah, there's what you want to do, and then there's what you should do, and those two things don't always match. Sometimes if you want to do the thing bad enough, it doesn't matter at all how much you should do something. You're just going to go and do what you want to do. Like that's the thing with smart people, right? It's like IQ, it's not going to do anything if you really want to fuck a man that wants to be a woman online. You know, your brain has functions in it specifically designed to make you do mental gymnastics to make the other parts of your brain agree with what you want to do.
Though that's why I always think it's funny when people brag about having like an IQ, if that's really high or something. Like ever, if that's ever mentioned, I immediately start instinctively laughing because that's most of the time a handicap. Like it's not really useful. It's just it allows you more CPU cycles to allocate towards thinking about model training.
Yeah. So like it's like basically unless they make like mental gymnastics an Olympic sport, right? Like kind of like esports, how they're making that into a semi-real sport. You know, they're trying. If they ever made mental gymnastics into a real sport, then maybe they would have something to do with their lives. If these high IQ people.
I want to see that, but I want to see a mental gymnastics where someone has to get up on stage and explain like why using the N-word is actually like a healing act, and it's a good thing, and you should be praised for saying the N-word. I want to see someone do that. I want to see someone defend the most absurd statements using circular logic. I always enjoy it when people
have a stage and there's like judges that rate from 1 to 10 how effective that mental gymnastics was. It's like, you did a really good job convincing me of this totally insane idea.
So what would the credentials be
totally insane
for these jobs? Like to be a judge, what kind of credentials would you need so people know that you're good enough to be a judge of mental gymnastics?
Well, you probably have to be extremely smart. Like you'd have to watch a lot of 3-minute YouTube clips of Jordan B. Peterson. You would probably have to listen to trance music while looking at really close-up pictures of stars and crystals. Those are things that make you smart. So that would probably help.
Oh, okay. Now, you're a legendary podcaster who you created like the greatest podcast that had ever been published ever. And it was actually so good that multiple government agencies had to take it down because it was going to ruin the economy. So, as a person who
they're worried about laughter inflation. The laughter economy was going to collapse because I was bringing so much joy and mirth through the computer screen.
Yeah, and then also Big Pharma was also getting kind of upset because it was going to cut into their antidepressant sales too. So, you know, you got that, and then like Martin Shkreli somehow is probably involved, and then that's what brought it down. So, yeah, I was gonna ask you a question, but I forgot what that question was. So, we can just go next topic.
Well, I have something if you want to hear it along the lines of defending insane. Which is something I think about a lot. I was watching. Have you ever seen the YouTube channel Game Theory?
Game Theory.
It's weird.
I never watched.
Is it like Big Bang Theory, but like
it's actually made by the same producer. Weirdly enough.
Producer. Oh, okay. I mean, because like Big Bang Theory, I've seen a couple of episodes. It's like you have like that one girl who's like, you know, she's kind of hot, but it's like you're not sure about it. You know, one of those situations, and then like there's like some dudes here, and then they make some jokes about like about things that I don't really.
I think and then someone says Bazinga, and then like it gets a lot of upvotes on Reddit.
Yeah, I don't know what Bazinga means actually, because like I know
it's cool.
It's like it's a cool word that like maybe, you know, because I'm not part of that in crowd. Like, you know, when I was in high school, like there was a group of kids who would play like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, but they never let me play with them because they're like, oh no, you're not cool enough to be with us.
Is that true? Are you making a bet right now, or is that true?
That is actually true. Yeah. Yeah. They're like, with them. Like they're like, oh no, like get the fuck out of here, you're gay.
That's
blah, blah, blah.
insane.
Yeah. So then I'm like,
oh my god,
man, this fucking sucks. So then
like, I can't enjoy this anymore. I didn't realize I was making fun of someone like that. Damn, you ruined this for me. Wow, dude.
So like, I ended up.
Imagine being the guy who's like orbiting on the edge of the D&D circle.
Well, no, I didn't get.
Imagine
I
being
didn't get. I like because I don't know where they
damn.
hold their secret meetings and shit. So like, I ended up like not like attending any of them. So
Well, that's the thing is they do have a pretty elaborate Masonic style initiation rituals. They do have secret meetings. There is a lot of that, so you do have to study a lot of like occult books, like the Kybalion, before you're entered into the D&D thing. There is a
yeah.
big barrier to entry.
So maybe it was a good thing because it seems like it's a lot more effort than it's worth at that point.
Yeah. But anyway, my thing I was going to talk about, I think 4 minutes ago, and I forgot. Yeah, the channel Game Theory. I brought that up for a reason. I think. Yeah. But anyway, it's a YouTube channel where basically people with too many spare IQ points to waste a huge amount of time. They'll post videos like, "What if Mario was actually Sonic's dad?" And they'll talk about it for 20 minutes of like these elaborate theories about video games.
Okay.
And I saw one. And this is along the lines of what you said earlier of defending impossible ideas. I saw one that was really crazy. It was they were playing Call of Duty World at War. It was a World War II game.
Okay.
And they went to like the concentration camp level. And the guy narrating the video was the guy who worked for Big Bang Theory. He was like, guys, look at the smokestacks in this level. There's no way that the Call of Duty Nazis could have cremated that many Jews in that short of an amount of time. And then he kept showing all these photos of the map. That was so weird, yeah. And he basically didn't prove that the Holocaust never happened in the Call of Duty universe.
In the Call of Duty universe.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought that was amazing
too.
Yeah,
it got accepted.
And see, I just thought that was amazing that he took an impossible idea, but by the end of the video, I was like, I can never play Modern Warfare the same way again, knowing that it's all just pointless wars for Israel. And I'm glad that it's not like that in real life.
No, Modern Warfare. If you examine the plot of Modern Warfare, aren't you like constantly fighting against at first you're fighting in like a Middle Eastern country, and then you're going up against the Russians, but like there's actually no justification for that conflict in the entire story. It's like just some kind of like a weird like semi-conspiratorial thing where like they kind of make you seem like you're attacking Russia because Russia's bad. And then they invade DC.
Well, Russia is bad, dude. They hacked us, dude.
They hacked us? Well, I mean, like that's the excuse I always use whenever I get a bad grade on a school test. I always say that, I got hacked by the Russians. And I'd say maybe it works about, 40% of the time. So it's not a very effective excuse. It's like my last ditch effort. It's kind of like in Call of Duty if, you get killed, but then, you're on the ground and you have a pistol and you can kill people, on your way out.
Yeah, actually, that's better than my method. My method of getting out of tests is to call in bomb threats to the school, and that didn't work when I tried it. So your method is probably...
Yeah, because I think this was really only a recent thing that I started doing, because I didn't even know about this excuse until a couple years ago. So I'd say this is a good advice to give you. Let's say you're taking one of those standardized tests, and then you can either use that excuse, or you can use the excuse about the something about the Austrian model of education, and how it's how, Austria got absorbed by Nazi Germany, and then the Nazis ended up in NASA, and then
dude, I don't want to hear about Nazis, man. Come on, dude, it's so old. The Holocaust Nazi stuff is so played out by this point. It's so commercial.
I'm not talking about the Holocaust. I'm talking about the education systems.
I know, but I just think people need to get into more I'm really into more indie genocides. I'm more like a Holodomor kind of guy. You probably haven't heard of them. They're kind of grassroots. They're kind of underground. I think they've been making so many movies about the Holocaust that it's all it's too mainstream now. I can't get into it.
Okay, so when we're talking about these video games and these video game conspiracy theories, where it's there's a thing in the plot of the game where it's not what the mainstream accepts, the mainstream game media does not accept this. So is this ultimately what Gamergate was already about? The whole thing, it was just the whole thing was all just because of these conspiracy theories in the plots of video games, and it had nothing to do with misogyny or ethics or...
Wait, I don't know what Gamergate is. Can you explain that to me?
Well, I mean,
I've never heard of that before.
Okay, so Gamergate is this thing where basically a bunch of people on the internet decided that okay, you know how getting trolled is the worst thing that can happen to you on the internet, and it's you have instead of coming up with an internet paramedic side, this is before the bully hunters. This is when they were experimenting with the idea of what if we could have an internet bully hunter squad or something like that. but then it kind of devolved into people just hanging out in IRC chats and Reddit and then talking about stuff, and then I think some people were on YouTube making videos about it, and that's basically what happened.
Yeah, I regret asking. Okay, well, thank you for telling me though. And now I'm more informed. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Do you
have
have
to be an
any?
informed voter if you're going to vote. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I have like two other things I want to talk about, but I don't know if you got any.
Well, I mean, I was gonna one of the topics I had listed, I posted in the chat was like a school sponsored battle royale type of thing. I think it was related to like school shootings, but I don't really remember the context
That's messed up, dude. Don't
yeah.
laugh about that.
Well, no, I'm not laughing about that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with a solution because like a lot of people were saying that like school shootings, um, that they're actually on the decline, right? So they're less common than they used to be, and bullying is
Yeah, it's
also
a
less common.
it's a real bear market right now with the shootings.
Yeah,
They're
but the thing is,
way on.
like, they were saying that that the cause of that was because of decrease in bullying. So that's why like the reactionary like attacks that are happening has been going down as well, and that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. But I don't even remember what I came up with this idea for. I think I was like one of those things where like you're sleeping and you have like a weird dream and you wake up and you write something down on a paper, and then like by the time you look back at it, you're like, oh, all context has been lost. Like there's no more context around this. Like I can't recall what the dream I had was about, and so like I just have this thing on a piece of paper, and I have no idea how to decipher it.
When I was really retarded, like 3 years ago, I had a dream about Donald Trump, where like some person in
Well,
the dream told me, "Oh, go on."
some of our viewers may not like hearing about Donald Trump, because he used to own a casino, and gambling is bad.
Oh yeah, Mandalay Bay. Yeah, I heard about that. That was tragic.
Yeah, so
My heart goes out to all the victims.
like
It
so
reminds me of that tragedy, you know?
yeah, people should not gamble because gambling is like it can lead to gambling addictions. Like I heard that Maddox's parents had a gambling addiction. Like I don't know if you are aware who Maddox is. He's this guy from the internet
Yeah,
and
he's that singer. I think he was on America's Got Talent, right? Or no, he was In Sync.
In Sync.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was on In Sync, wasn't he?
well, I actually did not like In Sync very
The
much
guy with the hair and the jacket from In Sync. You remember him? That was
because
Maddox.
I always got them mixed up with the Backstreet Boys. Like I had difficulty kind of differentiating between the two bands. Like I feel like they were like I don't think they've ever collaborated, but they might have had like an overlap in either producers or maybe writers or something. So it made it very difficult for me to distinguish them because I didn't pay too much attention about what was going on with NSYNC.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, because like by the time Robot Chicken becomes a TV show and they start making references to it, I don't get the references. So like all of the jokes just go over my head. So I'm watching this TV show that
Yeah,
they're
that's the
making.
worst. If
Yeah.
when you have to like fake a convincing laugh at the workplace about some like really bad TV show like Family Guy,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you
So like Family
yeah.
Guy, they have all these references to like
See, I
really.
do studying. I do like speed studying, like Korean schoolboy style studying on like the best sitcoms, so I know which jokes to pretend to find funny when I go to work the next day and talk to normal people who aren't mentally ill and irony poisoned from reading Fiat at age 12. That's how
Oh,
I sort of integrate into the normal world.
oh, okay. You know what? Actually, this could be like an online school, like one of those things that people like go to like Patreon and subscribe, and then they get to learn about stuff, or maybe not even Patreon, but like just one of those online schools you could enroll in. Not an
Yeah, like
online
how to talk to
college.
normies, an online course. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Well, it's not like an online college, not like like what is it called, ITT Tech or anything like that. It's more like an
Man, that
online.
reminds me of that tragedy.
Oh, uh,
Why do you keep bringing up this really dark stuff, man? That's weird. I'm getting weird vibes here, man.
I
Can
think
we just raise the vibes a little bit in this area?
okay, let's focus on something else. Let's focus more
This
on
guy's
the
obsessed with shootings. I don't know what his problem is.
well, I'm not talking about shootings. I'm talking about the education
He brought up
and
IT tech like 3 times.
I wait what?
Anyway, yeah, but I think like I was about to say something funny. Hold on, but I forgot what it was. Go. I'm still watching monster truck videos, so I'm only paying attention to like half of this. So, forgive me if I have Alzheimer's, but go on.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, multitasking is an interesting thing because, some people can do it very well, and some people kind of have to just like alternate back and forth between what they're focusing on. So that's also another thing you could do. You could do like a multitasking, like challenge. Like I was thinking about developing an app or something. Originally, the app was going to be talking to NPCs in real life, and then you just put down in the app like how many you've talked to and how many dialogue options you've exhausted. But this might actually be a better one where it's like those apps that train your brain to become smarter, but it's training your brain to become multitasking. Or
Yeah, actually, I used those apps for years, and there's no better way to raise your IQ than playing Flash games on some app that costs like $20 a month. That's how most NASA scientists are trained. They play Flash games on their phone on the bus. Those things really work.
oh, okay. Well, where I live, they have buses, but the subway tends to be a little bit more efficient in traveling, so there's not a lot of cell phone signal there. So so I don't really have access to this technology that you're talking about. Like I could try getting it, but I would have to move then, and that's the situation where I'm at right now. So I'm doomed to be part of like the lower uneducated class that doesn't have access to the world class training apps to increase your multitasking skills and get your degree through a cell phone.
Yeah, yeah, I see.
I mean, people back in the day, back in like the 2000s, they got their degrees on the internet on a computer, but now people are able to get their degrees on a cell phone. And I think that that's progress right there because the device got smaller, but the utility got larger.
Yeah, I actually got a certificate in Samoan energy healing on my iPhone the other day.
Is
It
that the
was
one with
really
the
good. It was worth the
crystals?
$400. Yeah, it is. It came actually with some crystals in the mail.
Because you
I
see, I,
think it was worth.
I had a friend in high school who talked about crystals a lot, and there's one thing about like you go to a store and then like you have to hold crystals, right? And then the store clerk was saying like, oh, if you accidentally drop a crystal, then it means you're supposed to buy that crystal. And there were all these like weird rules that you have to follow, and I think that these are like things that like get you better at like healing people by like becoming a massage therapist, and then when you give them massages, they get healed.
You got to be careful with crystals, man. That's some dangerous stuff. You got to know what you're doing.
Well, as
There's some
long as you're not
cursed
trying to make the
jewels out
crystals,
there.
because I heard that making
Don't want to
crystals
mess
is
with those.
dangerous.
Yeah, you got to at least get a few classes on that kind of stuff. Be a trained professional. Should only be handling cursed jewels like that.
Wait, so like these crystals like they're potentially dangerous. Like what are the dangers involved with these crystals? Because I've seen them in stores
Oh, you
and they
could
don't really
die.
Well,
have,
you
A
can
lot
die.
of
Yeah.
energy, very high powered crystals. These things are.
but
That's
they
the
don't
thing
have
that
any
no one will
warnings on
talk to
them.
you
Like
about.
how are they getting past like the FDA and all that?
Oh, they're totally unregulated.
Ah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
they're like
basically the
vitamins
final
for your
frontier.
soul.
hmm.
It's like giving yourself a shitload of niacin, but for your spirit. It's totally
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well, I'm trying to look for a crystal that can heal my irony poisoning. I actually went to irony rehab a few weeks ago. I was sent there. I got a 5150 from irony poisoning. And I'm looking for a crystal that can help because none of the electric brain stimulation therapy they did helped. Um, I really just want to get to a place where I can laugh at classic stuff like Family Guy and Futurama instead of like right now, really the only things that I can find funny are like a fat transgender Twitch streamer having a mental breakdown while speedrunning Sonic Colors. And I'd like to get back to being able to enjoy things normally instead of only finding things that are not funny. But I
Oh,
think I need a crystal to do that. I just
okay.
haven't found the right one.
Yeah. Well, good luck on your crystal search. I think I've seen some on Amazon, but I don't know if they sell if it's a big counterfeit market in crystals.
It
So,
might be. Well, that's the thing. It's a lot of it is counterfeit. But it was funny. I was at the irony clinic and I asked the orderly, how ironic would it be if I got diagnosed with irony poisoning? But they didn't get it. I think they weren't a genius like me. But
because they didn't get
yeah.
that, they weren't able to unravel the irony
There's
onion.
like 4 layers there, and it's
Yeah.
like sort of like occult stuff. You got to study it and like tease it out. Like it's very Masonic style of humor. But yeah, I kind of fucked up. I don't find any funny things funny. The only things I find funny are like really like pictures of birds or model trains. Mandelbrot sets, advanced geometry, Holocaust revisionism. Just so I'm sort of like very esoteric like that. I like to think that this makes me a genius, but some people think it makes me retarded.
Well, some people would classify that as like what a hipster does, because like hipsters are really into the things that are like not mainstream. So
yeah, well, that's the thing though, is I'm being ironic about my irony. And so that's like, you know, Super Saiyan, like you can be Super Saiyan 3, 4, 5, there's levels.
Oh, yeah.
I started off as ironic with a C at the end. Then I progressed to ironic with a K. Okay. And now I'm at the third level, which is ironic with 4 Qs at the end. And so I actually just lowered you masterfully into my trap of believing me when I was actually being insincere the whole time. And this is really the part where I say checkmate.
I guess this is like that so-called intellectual checkmate that I've been warned about on the internet. Well,
yeah, this is what your parents warned you about when they told you about the chat rooms.
Yeah, I mean, like I had a lot of horror stories about chat rooms, but this is not something I was expecting. This is like this is the unexpected event that like, you know, I never thought this would ever happen. You know,
it's really the season finale twist ending. Like when you find out the good guy was actually the bad guy and the good guy's dad and gay the whole time.
Yeah. You didn't see this coming. Like, if only like actual TV shows or actual shows in general had this kind of twist instead of the kind of twist that was like pretty much predictable, then you'd have a lot more entertaining entertainment. But since this is just real life on the internet, it's like, oh, I guess I just have to delete my channel now because I got checked.
Yeah, because it's fucked up, and it really is though. The thing is, you take a great risk when you employ irony as a practice. Like I'm in a really bad spot right now because my irony has led me down a bad path, and I don't want to, you know, get too personal, but I'm really depressed right now, you know, because people have found me out. You know, I've been exposed as a fraud. I don't know if you've ever been on the website 8chan. Have you ever been on that website?
What is this? Is this like 4chan? This 8chan?
It's like that, but it's twice the amount of mentally stable people. It's a chat room only for mentally stable people with good opinions. But there's a thread on the $1 Million Extreme 8chan board where some guy found out that I took my website down, and then he posited a theory that the only reason I could have taken my website down is that I killed myself and tried to play it off as a joke. And
so, like,
you know,
you tried to like fake not committing suicide.
No, he said that I committed suicide, but then posthumously, after being dead, decided to try to spin it as an ironic joke. And I'm bummed that they found out because I'm sincerely dead and I'm not ironically dead. I'm communicating via seance right now. Most people don't realize this, but I just feel like a total hack because they saw through my plan. Yeah. Like what happened was when I killed myself and I was like, damn, this is too sincere, you know? And so as a disembodied spirit, I had to go back and make it look like it was ironic and tongue in cheek. Like I replaced the noose with a keffiyeh scarf, one of those really trendy like scarves you see lesbians wearing at a juice bar. So then when my family found my body, they would be like, damn, you know, he would never wear that. That's way too boho. That's not his style at all. He must be ironically mocking people who wear scarves. And they would know. So I did have a few funeral and everything, but it was an ironic funeral. See, everyone was there was a crisis actor paid by George Soros.
Oh, so. Well, crisis actors. I mean, like, I remember you had done a segment on crisis acting. It was very interesting, and I got to say, like, that's... how did you get that person that you interviewed who was a crisis actor, I think, in Syria?
He was one of my fans, actually. He was one of the people who listened to my podcast. I got a lot of crisis actors, a lot of people in the industry. You know, a lot of people coming out trying to get their screenplays out, and he's just one of the ones who reached out.
Oh, okay. But did he end up like working at the CIA, and was like, you know, he probably was like, or maybe he like might have applied for a job there when like you started getting popular, and it's like, no, I knew this guy before he was cool, before he was like the new thing in the CIA and NSA, where like everybody was like a fan of him.
Well, that's usually, they do like talent scouting and stuff like that. Like they see who can cry most convincingly on camera and stuff like that. So it was a little bit of that involved as well.
Usually they just post an ad on Craigslist or like Fiverr or something.
Yeah, Fiverr is really big with crisis acting, actually. A lot of people don't realize that.
Oh, Fiverr.
It's like you can get all kinds of actors for just $5. It's a great deal if you're a government.
Yeah, they green screened a lot of the kids in Sandy Hook were actually green screened in from Fiverr actors. Most people don't realize. They did. They actually hired Pixar to do some of the CGI for it. It was very good.
Pixar. Pixar, I think they got bought out by Disney, or are they still independent?
Well, I don't
I think
know.
they're Chinese now.
Well,
Is
I
that
thought
true?
that Disney
Oh.
was like like Disney as it's like going around buying up all of these other companies and then like just absorbing it into like some kind of weird like conglomerates. What is that movie where that thing goes around absorbing everything? I forgot what it was called, but there was a movie about it, and then like I think Disney decided to make it real life, and that's what they're trying to do right now.
I think Disney bought 60% of the shares of our social security network, so technically they own all of us.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if only they
But
had
there
bought it
is.
earlier before like the whole fiasco that happened when they decided to put a music major in charge. Well, people are arguing back and forth. Some people are saying it's a problem because they put a music major in charge of the security, and other people are arguing that it was because it was a woman, and other people are arguing that it was like, oh no, it's just someone who just did it. Like there were like three main camps, right? One was like the anti-music major for security positions camp, one was the anti-woman camp, and the other was the anti-boomer camp. So like you have like three different people who are or three different groups of people who are arguing as to what the cause for like the leak of everybody's like social security information was.
I remember that actually went on for quite a while until it got too cold. They had to pack up their tents.
Oh yeah. Well,
Get it?
like,
Because
wasn't
they're
it the same thing that
camps.
happened
They're in
with Occupy
camps.
Occupy Wall
See, I was
Street?
making a joke about camps. You said they were in camps. That's kind of what I was doing there. I wasn't. If
No.
I get social anxiety after I
That's
tell a
so
joke,
fucking
so
bad.
sometimes I have to explain it to people.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully that doesn't offend you. That's just something that I do. I'm diagnosed with social anxiety. So
Oh, well, I could just like cut that part out of the episode if you want. I mean, this is
no,
a live
that's okay.
stream, but you know,
I just want to make sure that you knew that because I said 10, it was because you said they were in camps. And see, I have a really smart brain that does like associative word games all the time.
Oh, God. I just realized the tense part.
Well,
Yeah,
see, that's what. See, that's why.
People camp in
God
tents.
damn it.
Ugh.
Oh, so are you like the kind of person who like usually camps in like either like a cabin or a teepee rather than a tent? Like you're like a not really into the
Usually,
whole, like...
no. Usually, it's like gas station bathrooms for
No,
me.
no, I meant like Neon because he was saying like or blockchains. He was like, oh, you know, I didn't get the tent thing because like maybe like because some people don't like to camp in tents, like they like to use RVs or cabins or you know.
Personally, I just squat in houses.
That's a
Oh.
good way to do it.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can actually do if you're really good
Yeah,
at being
definitely.
sneaky. You can just hide in someone's cabinet and go out and like when they go to sleep, go and eat their food and then hide back in the cabinet so they don't find.
Yeah, it's a pretty tried and true tactic, yeah. Like, you could spend money on Airbnb, or you could just do it for free and sneak into someone's house and just live there.
Well, I
they're
think they
gone.
already had a YouTube channel that was kind of based on that, where like they would try to act out video games in real life as Solid Snake by living in other people's houses. But yeah, I guess they don't do that anymore. So you know, if you start doing it, people are not going to realize that you're just totally ripping off their idea. And then like you could just get away with it and then monetize it on YouTube.
Yeah, the best thing is if anyone gets mad at you for breaking into their house, just say it's a social experiment, and they usually back off. They're like, oh, okay, I get you. I have
Well,
a
that's-
YouTube channel. They're
that's
like,
the thing
"Oh,
is-
okay. And you don't
if-
have to actually have a YouTube channel. They'll never bat an eye at it because everything's so wild these days. It's like, oh, okay, you're a YouTuber? Fine, that's cool. Here's my money.
Yeah,
Here's my
it's
house. Stay here all you want. Am I going to get famous? And you could say yes to all of this, and they'll feed you like a king.
it really works. Like the whole performance art legal defense has really taken off quite a bit lately. And I think that's the thing of like people are discovering irony and it's being used more and more. And I think that's going to be a big thing to watch. in the
Irony
future.
is going to be the most valuable metal in 2020.
Well, I think
It's the irony tower where like you know you go there and those are the people who have all the advantages in life. Those are going to be
yeah,
the
it's
ones.
like I was watching this documentary about Vladimir Putin and how he would intentionally play mind games with the people that he was ruling over by, for instance, funding opposition groups that purportedly would go up against him. And like it's essentially like he's just doing a prank. So no one knew if they could actually join these resistance groups because they were funded by Vladimir Putin or his like middleman or whatever. But I think weaponized irony, militarized irony is going to be a big thing in the post-truth world. And there need to be like irony safe words to like know which level that you're operating on.
Oh, okay. Like kind of like the DEF CON levels, but it's like the irony.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't use Icon because that's already been taken. That's now a sci-fi convention at Stony Brook University. So you know, thanks to those guys, our term has been taken and already been trademarked. So I think we're at an impasse over there.
Yeah.
We could have been like, "Oh, we're hitting Icon 5 right now. Like, don't worry, guys. It's not in too deep yet." But no, now it's yeah. So how's your VR headset doing?
My VR headset. I took
How
it
many
off.
porn tabs do you have open right now? They're just like flinging around the VR space.
Tabs, please. That's so 2000.
I'm
I have
sorry.
like 2 fucking apps up.
Oh,
open
damn.
At the same time in each, and you can tell a lot about someone's IQ level by the anime babes they see on their eye screens.
This is true. That's actually how military screens for recruits. They ask you what the best.
Oh, okay. Like, so they've actually updated their what is it called, aptitude tests. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and pro tip: if you ever want to get straight into the Air Force, just tell them Felix Argyle is the best anime girl. They set you right up in the Air Force.
Oh, that's what gets people into the Air Force now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, because they need more like LGBTQ soldiers because those are the most effective soldiers. The gay soldiers, they're like superhuman.
The gays go to the Navy.
Killing me.
Well,
no,
like is this from like because of what the Spartans? Is that what they're trying to do? Like,
that's exactly what it is.
Project.
Yeah, they found out that the gay gene actually confers you super strength. You can have an out-of-body experience and mark targets, like in Splinter Cell. You can like go into bullet time if you're gay. That's why there's such a big push for gay soldiers.
That's why they did it in ancient Greece. You ever wonder why all these internships fuck you in the ass and give you no pay for it? It's because it's what they did way back when. That's what worked. Okay, you get an apprenticeship somewhere and you say, hey, I'm a young teen boy with a hole and I need you to give me experience and exposure. And they're like,
don't make fun of my resume, dude. Okay, listen, I thought that would work. You're making fun of my resume. I'm a joke or something, okay?
I'm joking.
Were you based out of DC, like as a teenager?
No, I'm just stating the facts here.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, I heard that like certain regions tend to do it more than other regions, but I was just curious as to what region you were in when you were a teenager. Then, where this was your internship.
The United States.
Well, yeah. Which region of the United States?
U.S. East.
U.S. East.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I was thinking that maybe because like a lot of people would just assume California, but like that's not actually
pretty much anywhere in the city. You're gonna get that.
Oh. All right. Yeah. Because like because cities are where the businesses are located usually, the business headquarters. So that makes sense.
Well, I got nothing else, unless you guys got something.
My brain's slowing down from these potatoes I just ate.
You just ate some potatoes?
I'm going to go into glycemic shock. I'm a really low glycemic index food. I ate so many potatoes. I ate a toxic level of potatoes. They might have turned into toxins by now. I think I set them out in the sun for too long. I might be fucked. This might be my last stream, gamers.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So this is the last stream of blockchains. Do you have any shout outs, like a last words, last will, or something?
I don't regret anything I've ever done.
Okay. So everybody, you want to live your life the way he lived his life and have no regrets. That's the lesson for today. Okay, everybody.
Live life and don't care about anything because nothing matters. That's what I heard on TV.
Yeah, I heard that on Rick and Morty.
I saw it on Rick and Morty. Just smoke weed and do drugs and not care about your future, and then life will turn out great.
That's like the high IQ thing, because like I heard that you have to be really smart, and you won't be able to get that.
It's not wasting time if you're having fun.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing is you have to be really smart in order to be a retard first. A lot of people try to be a retard. They try to just spend their 20s. Yeah, exactly. They try to spend their 20s doing drugs and engaging in hedonistic nihilism and having sex with strangers and stuff like that. But they're not smart enough to convince themselves that it's actually a good idea. That's why you have to be a genius to be a retard first. Most people don't realize that.
You can end it all with no regrets in a potato shock. All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So
It's like
Most people don't
upgrading
realize
software.
that, but that's really the thing you should be doing to build your future. Is it's not like getting a job or something. It's all the pelts that you collected in Red Dead Redemption 2 and all the unique outfits that you made, all the hours in that game, all the levels you got in World of Warcraft. When you get to heaven, they're going to tally those, and you get to keep those when you're in heaven. It's directly proportional to your gamer score.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for coming on this show. I think we might be able to get up to like 3 viewers, and then that's going to be a new record. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.